Time now to talk politics. I'm joined by Democrat L.J. Bryant and Republican Andrea Allen. Together, they are the collective co-chairs of the Northeast Arkansas Political Animals Club. Came all the way out of the woodwork from Jonesboro to come down here. I appreciate you guys very much.
Thanks for having us.
Being here. All right. Let's frame up the week in presidential politics. We're going to talk about Donald Trump first, Hillary Clinton second. Let's talk about what was good this week for Donald Trump, what was bad this week for Donald Trump.
Well, does entertainment count as good? Because from what I've seen with Donald Trump, it is a lot of entertainment. Maybe he is just reinforcing things and using simple terms, but that's what we're seeing a lot of. He did have a big policy rollout in Detroit, and it's always good when he has a policy rollout and actually talks about policy. And things may have gone a little haywire, but we'll get into that with some bad.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, on the bad side, I don't know do you remember the season of 24 where the president's in on the terrorist attacks? That was on 24. And so, you know, Donald Trump certainly decided the president was the co-founder of ISIS, even if it is sarcasm, quote unquote. I think, you know, the American people have kind of grown leery of the antics. And the primary was kind of cute. It's kind of like a cute old uncle that you don't want to put in charge of the family treasury, and I think that's kind of the point we're reaching.
Yeah, getting to that point. All right, let's talk about Hillary Clinton's week. LJ, what was good about Hillary Clinton's week? I'm going to let Andrea tell us what was bad about Hillary Clinton's week.
Yeah, a lot of good things. I mean, first of all, we know that in Georgia she's competitive. I mean, for the first time, President Obama did better in Georgia, did better in Mississippi, but she has a real chance at winning Georgia. Looks like she'll win North Carolina, which, you know, Mitt Romney won the last time. She's way ahead in Colorado, maybe by 10 plus points. She's up a couple points in Florida. She's released her tax returns Donald Trump hadn't, so really a good week for Hillary.
All right. What was bad about Hillary's week, Andrea?
Well, a lot more questions were raised about her health situation. I've noticed that coming. And, you know, Donald Trump does make outrageous statements. We'll give him that. Hillary has done some outrageous things. And so I think that's what it's going to come down to for voters. And it's still early. We still have maybe a September surprise and then an October surprise. Yeah. And so it's all early right now.
Well, I wanted to hit on that a little bit too, because you were talking about how things do look good from a polling perspective, LJ, for Hillary Clinton today, but we're not even to Labor Day yet. There is plenty of time for the seasons to shift a little bit. What do you think would have to happen, either one of you, to maybe change the trajectory of the race right now?
I think it's going to come down to states. Here in Arkansas, I don't think there's any question Donald Trump will carry the state. How important Arkansas will be, I'm not sure yet about that. But we have a very popular governor. We have some good candidates running, and I think that's going to play in a lot of states more so than the personalities of the presidential candidates. We have probably the two most disliked candidates running ever, and they're disliked from their personalities, but on policy, I think it's along party lines.
Yeah, LJ?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways you have a New York liberal versus a New York liberal. Maybe Donald Trump's the old New York liberal who now has some different views on things that he's sort of espoused to align himself with others. The real question is the down ballot effect. I mean, back to Colorado, Senator Michael Bennett's up pretty hugely. I know the Democrats are doing well in North Carolina. In other states, like Rob Portman's still doing well in Ohio, so the down ballot effect isn't as much. But in Arkansas, you take a race like up in our neck of the woods, say Nate Looney versus Bryant Smith. That seat has traded numerous times. You know, Dustin McDaniel to Joan Cash, back to John Hubbard to Harold Copenhaver, now back to Bryant Smith. So what's the down ballot effect on a 52-48 race if Trump does a few points worse than Mitt Romney?
Yeah, let's talk about some of those local races, particularly up in your neck of the woods there. You mentioned Bryant Smith, the incumbent Republican representative in the Jonesboro proper area there versus kind of new to town, Nate Looney, who is a well-to-do Democrat up there, an attorney up there as well. How competitive do you think that race is going to be, and is it going to be competitive because of the presidential?
This is probably one that we would disagree on. Nate Looney is a very likable guy, and he has a lot of energy, and that seat has flopped back and forth the last 4 elections. However, Representative Bryant Smith has done exactly what he ran on. He was the sponsor of changing Highway 63 to I-555, and Nate Looney is really an unapologetic liberal, and I don't know how that fits in Jonesboro. And I also think Jonesboro sees the need to be a little more consistent and keep their representatives there longer.
Yeah. What do you think? How does that race play out?
Yeah, I mean, you know, in Jonesboro, it's been kind of complicated as far as the down ballot effect. We've seen longtime incumbent Democratic JPs get beat, by a lot of unknown folks simply on the DR trend. However, simultaneously, John Hubbard got beaten 12 when there was enough money and effort put into it. Certainly, Brant Smith is no John Hubbard. Representative Brant Smith is a very nice man. So there's certainly a difference there between those two folks. However, when Jonesboro can get engaged in something and get engaged in a candidate, you know, we had a really hot district judge race where an incumbent got beat back in the primary. So I really think it's up to Nate Looney to engage the people of Jonesboro and make them be interested in his race, which we don't have as many local hot races other than maybe like county judge. So he has a chance to stand out in the pack. And the Koch brothers in this cycle, obviously not maybe engaging at all with Trump, that's yet to be seen, and they may engage with legislative candidates. However, I've already heard this in the field some, that AFP had some pieces sort of against the private option Arkansas Works supporting Brant Smith. Well, you know, that's kind of the tricky vote there toward the end where Brant voted a little bit differently. And so with some of the constituency, they may be turned off by some of AFP's messaging, or be turned on by AFP's messaging, they may turn off folks in the middle.
All right, we can take a quick commercial break. I want to come back and talk about one of the big hot Senate races up in Northeast Arkansas, and then we're also going to put a little political headline business. It's a new game that we're playing here. Andrea Allen, LJ Bryant are my guests. We're back with more right after this. Welcome back. I am with Democrat LJ Bryant, Republican Andrea Allen. They are the Northeast Arkansas Political Animals Club co-chairs. Let's pick back up where we were before the break. Hot legislative races in your neck of the woods. I want to go to the state Senate now. You got the incumbent Democrat Senator David Burnett versus Republican Representative Dave Wallace, who's opted to kind of come after that. Who's the favorite in this race? Incumbents typically have a little bit of favoritism, don't they?
Well, in that race, it's interesting because Representative Wallace's district, he has a large part of the Senate district as well, so I think they would both be favorites. That's a race I still think is a toss-up. I would give it to Wallace because the man is a workhorse and he's everywhere and he is working extremely hard. I don't believe there's been any polling done, but I give that race to Wallace.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. I mean, certainly Senator Burnett's been prosecuting attorney and been a district judge or circuit judge, one or the other. So his name ID is through the roof, but we've seen often that's not enough on state Senate races. I remember back in 2010, the Democrats lost 7 of 7 state Senate races. You know, Johnny Hoyt go down the line, and 12, Robert Thompson barely hung on. He was beaten 14. So Democrats have not done as well in state Senate races. It's getting to a larger level of 70, 80,000 people where you can't reach everybody, know everybody. Senator Burnett will certainly, if any Democrat can win, it'll be him. Folks know who he is, they know what he stands for, but I know that Representative Wallace is a very hard worker, so I mean, I'm holding a purple pen, I think so it's a purple district, so.
All right, give me one more race that's going on up there, another House race that you guys have your eyes on.
I'm watching it because it was my home, Lawrence County, where you have Frank Kavanaugh running against incumbent Representative James Ratliff. And I would love nothing more than the first Republican elected there to be a female. and she is president of the Chamber of Commerce, and she is kind of leading the way along with Mayor Snap and Walnut Ridge on economic development efforts. And
From a well-connected business family up there.
Yes, and they have done a lot, seen a lot of growth and new businesses in the area, and she has a lot to do with that.
Is that the other hot race you got your eye on?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, you know, we kind of know the history of the district. Representative Ratliff has ran a lot, won a lot. Even before that, he ran against J.R. Rogers and Don House and didn't win. And so the folks in that district have seen his name on the ballot for probably 12, 14 years. The Kavanaugh name's been on the ballot quite a bit too. Her brother-in-law challenged Representative Ratliff in the Democratic primary and then as the Republican nominee. The Kavanaughs are well-liked, hard workers, good folks. Representative Ratliff, in that instance, it may be a little bit of a hills versus flatland thing as much as it is D versus R, so it'll be a close race.
All right, now we got to turn our attention. We've got about 2 minutes left here, so we have to go through these pretty quick. I'm going to let Andrea pick the headline to debate. You going to go with the first one here? Flip it over.
I don't know, you're the way you're at.
All right. Donald Trump, this is from The Hill. I don't know that we need to get out the vote. This is something Donald Trump said on Friday morning. He's not sure he needs to have a get out the vote effort. Does he need a get out the vote effort?
Maybe he doesn't want to win. I mean, I thought that all along. I thought maybe this is publicity, let's make more money. Maybe this has nothing to do with winning. I mean, he hadn't released his tax returns. Maybe he just doesn't have any money. Yeah, maybe he needs this to make more money. I don't know what it is, but that really doesn't make any sense. But that's not surprising.
Maybe they could work a deal and he'll release his tax returns as she'll release her health records. So
There
it'll
we go.
all be good.
Little GOTV, though, is important. All right, the second one here. This is from CNN. Inside the debate over probing the Clinton Foundation. This is a little bit of a question mark that's come up. Were there some conflicts of interest between the Clinton Foundation and and Hillary Clinton's terms in the Secretary of State's office? Is this something that could become a bigger issue, or do you think this is just another investigation to try to stir up some more controversy?
Well, it will definitely stir up controversy, but I think it could become a bigger issue. It could lead to the September-October surprise that we were talking about. Is there more to come? Is this it? I think that we've seen in Arkansas in the past week or so that emails granting favors and things, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's very important.
All right, you got 10 seconds. Wrap it
Yeah,
up.
I would just say that, of course, the State Department's going to work with a nonprofit foundation and overseas work. So, I mean, if there's something there, that would surprise me.
All right, LJ, Bryant, Andrea Allen, Northeast Arkansas Political Animals Club meets once a month, and you got a good one coming up this next Friday.
Yep.
You got Looney versus
Smith.
Smith. There you go.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, so it'll be good. Thank y'all for coming.
Thanks, Robin.
All right. That is all for this week's edition of Talk Business and Politics. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.